So I'll just tell the fans this though, as far as Sony or Marvel approaching me, that hasn't happened, right? And I would let you know if it did. Or I would not let you know if it did, right?
You don't want to get in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But you get in trouble. Exactly. So all I can say is, they haven't approached me, but what I can say is this, like for the first time in my entire career, right? Like the amount of support from my end, from my side has been, this is like critical mass. This has reached critical mass. It's never been this large in my entire career. And I've worked for like 18 years. For the first like 10, 12 years, nobody knew who I was, right? Then the game comes out, and now a few people know who I am. And now it's what, 6 years on since the first game came out. Now it feels like every gamer knows who I am, which is amazing, right? And again, so for the first time, I actually have some support.
Nerd Reactor, roll out.
Steven, we're back.
Always good to see you.
Yeah. I guess the last time we were just we're talking about all kinds of stuff, but now I think with the announcement of Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland saying like, "Oh, it's going to be a brand new day."
Right.
And I just want to get right to it because a brand new day, the Spider-Man storyline features Mr. Negative, and you're Mr. Negative.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Negative in one of the forms of Mr. Negative, right? In the video game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, Mr. Negative in the Spider-Man game. And so with the live action movie, brand new day, I feel like if it happens, you got to be it, like if they do a casting.
Well, I wish you were my manager, and I wish you were the Sony execs, because if everyone thought your way, then it would be that. As far as the movie rumors, yeah, I actually heard it, or I read it from the internet, this week, right? Obviously, every year we've talked, and the rumors have kind of increased. This year, it really felt like all of a sudden it was super serious, right? This rumor, and then as far as the information that I know from my professional sources, again, we're all NDAs, we're all bound by everything, but yeah, I know some things. I can just say that, right? So I'll just tell the fans this though, as far as Sony or Marvel approaching me, that hasn't happened, right? And I would let you know if it did. Or I would not let you know if it did, right?
You don't want to get in trouble, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But you get in trouble, exactly. So all I can say is, they haven't approached me, but what I can say is this: like for the first time in my entire career, right? Like the amount of support from my end, from my side, has been, this is like critical mass. This has reached critical mass. It's never been this large in my entire career, and I've worked for like 18 years. For the first like 10, 12 years, nobody knew who I was, right? Then the game comes out, and now a few people know who I am. And now it's what, 6 years on since the first game came out. Now it feels like every gamer knows who I am, which is amazing, right? And again, so for the first time, I actually have some support in my end, which is coming from the gaming community, right? But it's melding now, and it's bleeding over into Instagram and YouTube. And trust me, I'm an insecure actor, so I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say I don't read the comments. I read all the comments, good and bad, right? And so, like I said, this literally this week has been game changing for myself. And I think I just wanted to tell people who are fans of me, I want to tell people who are curious about Mr. Negative in the movie that, hey, your support actually means something. I do think studio execs, they have a finger on the pulse of what fans want. I mean, we've seen it. I could list you off a 5 names off the top of my head who are big actors who got at least in the room because of support of the people, of the viewers. So, on the one hand, there are obviously fans who are like, hey man, you shouldn't beg, right? and then there are other people like, hey, shoot your shot, right? And so I guess I'll just split down the middle and be like, hey, whatever happens, I just want to say thank you, because I remember the first year we came out on the Hall H announcing Spider-Man the video game, 2018, okay? They announced Mr. Negative as the character, and then they announced me as the actor. I walk out on stage, and one, nobody knew who the character was at that time, right? Very few comic book fans knew. And number two, uh, nobody knew who I was for sure. So that was 2000. So silence. Okay, dead silence.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Hall H has what, 8,000 people capacity, something like that? And it was like nothing. It was like the opposite of when they announced RDJ, right? But then you contrast that from 2018 to now, all of a sudden, I'm telling you, this weekend, there's like 2 million views on one post about Spider-Man Brand New Day and about literally people specifically talking about Mr. Negative, the character, and then of those 2 million views, you got like thousands of people coming to my page being like, hey man, for the first time, I'm telling you, in my career, being like, hey man, you should do it. Because for 6 years, yeah, right? Because we've heard these rumors before. And every year they always say it should be Stephen Yeun, it should be Daniel Day Kim, it should be basically any Asian actor that you've seen on TV, right? And very rarely will they be like, yeah, you should get Stephen Oyoung, right? And so, and again, I've done the movies, I've done TV, but there's a limit, right? There's a point of critical mass where I think people see you, recognize you, and then vouch for you.
Oh, yeah.
Now, for the first time in my career, people are vouching. So I am super grateful.
That's good because like I feel like the more like it's like a snowball effect, and I don't know on your mindset if you don't want to like think too much into it, but for me I'm thinking like the more like the people just clamor for this, and as the studios they look at this and it's like, oh, the people, this is what the people want, and but
Yeah,
hopefully
look.
sometimes it could be good, sometimes it could be bad. For example, what is it? John Krasinski, like people wanted him to be Mr. Fantastic, and then Doctor Strange.
And then they gave him a cameo, and then they killed him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, listen, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that I didn't think about that, right? Of course, anyone would want to be the guy. Anybody would want it to do the thing, okay? And anybody would be disappointed if it didn't work out the way that we have it in our head. Let's just be real. And so for myself, of course, I'd like to temper my expectation, but don't think I'm not thinking about it every day for the past 6 years. I do. I do, and I guess I'll say this, like, it's like Musashi, right? The samurai, right? It's kind of like the Sun Tzu, Musashi, Art of War, the Art of the Five Rings. It's like the samurai embraces death. Right. And that's when he can be victorious. This is the same premise. It's like, yeah, I'll probably not get it, whatever. But until then, at the very least, I can come out there and I can tell people, hey, thank you for boosting my profile. Thank you for supporting me, because people have no incentive to do that. People like you don't have any incentive to interview me, but you do. Right. And then because that happens, then people get to know me. And then if people know me, I can work more. So the fans and you like literally put food in my mouth. It's no exaggeration. So like when I say I'm very appreciative for people, it's like that's all it is. Every actor is just I say it all the time. We're just traveling minstrels, right? If we were in the medieval times, we would be those crazy people with the guitars going to courts singing for bread, right?
Yeah.
Or in our case, noodles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's like, you know what I mean? But so the fact that people like what I do, or even put me in the same category as guys like Stephen Yeun or Daniel Day Kim, these guys that have worked for years, it's like all I can say is it's helpful.
Yeah.
I'm grateful. And let's keep doing it, because you never know what's going to happen, fam. That's all I can say.
Oh, yeah. So I don't know, like, okay, like in my mind, thinking about like, oh, Steven, you're going to let's say if you do this, what's the different approach you would do, or if you do the same approach, or is that something you want to keep secret until that time comes?
Listen, let's talk game, right? Let's talk about it. It's like, I've actually thought about this. What I would bring new to it that I didn't do in the video game, I think, is literally just I'm older. So when I did the video game, I did it 7 years ago. I was a spry, young, happy guy, right? Now I'm married. Now I have responsibilities. Now my bones ache. It's like that's real stuff. When I was doing it 7 years ago, I had to kind of pretend to be this mature business guy, right? And now I'm like, now I'm that guy, you know? So I think that's what I would bring to it is just more of a maturity, like a world weariness to it. I don't think I'd be as bouncy, you know, because I'm bouncy in real life, right? But it's like, I think now I have it in me to have the gravitas that is necessary to be this kind of character. So that's what I would bring to it. And then, you know, after that, I would just hit the gym. I would get jacked, man. I'm telling you, because
Oh yeah.
man, because that's your
Stand
time.
against Tom Holland, you know, like come on, Tom.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. That's your time when you're an Asian guy in America and you're gonna be on TV like that role. Even if you're wearing the suit, I would get jacked to the gills. I do not care. I can immediately hire a personal trainer, and that's what I would do.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And I know we're
Yeah.
running. I don't know, like timing wise for you, because we're
No,
like,
I'm good. Good, baby. We're good. I got you. I got you.
yeah, because
Yeah.
what is it? What is it? The movie, The Tourist Guide to Love. I don't know if you've seen that. It's on Netflix. But you know, just me like just watching it. It's got Rachel Lee Cook, and
Yeah.
you know, she goes to Vietnam, and
Oh,
you get the Vietnamese tour guide
yes.
showing
Yeah.
her around, and then he's like, it's a love story between them
Sure.
two, and so seeing him like he's at the beach, he's taking off his shirt. And he's like, all right, yeah. You know, he's like ripped. I'm like, all right, I'm proud of you. Yeah. But you
Yeah,
need
exactly.
to watch
Good
that too.
job,
Watch
man.
that.
He knew the assignment, right?
Yeah.
It's like, good job. That's what you're supposed to do. You
Yeah.
know, you get one shot. So
Oh,
there
yeah.
it is.
And then, for this, just the brand new day. It's like a restart and all of that.
Yeah.
So what are you like as a fan excited about seeing? Like, what are the possibilities? Because everything just, whatever we know from, was it a No Way Home, Far From Home, Homecoming? I feel like, okay, I guess that's going to be thrown out the window for a new storyline, a fresh start.
Yeah. I think I'm like every other comic book fan out there, in that I think I'm excited to see the ground level approach, you know, and whether that means that we're going to see people like Kingpin, you know, or Tombstone or these other characters come out, or shoot, bring back Scorpion, right? Like those guys. I just feel like that is what I'm excited for. The streets of New York, you know, maybe some grittiness going on. That's the direction I'm excited to see. And yeah, of course, with the kind of the reboot, to see this new take on again the Sinister Six and where they go with that. That's always a good time. So I'd like to see that. That's what I'm excited
Yeah.
for.
Okay, yeah, like as you mentioned, like Kingpin and all that, the Sinister Six. So imagine you getting just team up with, let's say they bring back Vincent D'Onofrio. You're going to be
Sure.
acting opposite him, and
Yeah.
maybe Daredevil shows up.
Yeah. Oh no, exactly. Listen, if it all came true, right? If my wildest dreams came true, well, I'd probably just pass out. Frankly, you know, I'd probably hyperventilate. I mean, you're acting opposite Vincent D'Onofrio and all, you know, all those guys. Yeah, I don't even know what I would do. You know, but the funny thing is, I actually did work with John Bernthal years ago on Sicario. And I worked with J.K. Simmons on a commercial, you know, one of those State Farm commercials. So I feel like I'm already sort of in the Spider-Man world. Come on, guys, let's do this.
Yeah, it's like yeah, bring on Steven. He's like in the he's kind of like MCU adjacent already. Like he's
Yeah,
the guy.
exactly. In fact, that's on my LinkedIn right there. Stephen Oyoung, MCU adjacent. That's
But okay, I want to ask you, like, out of all the characters that, let's say, you can interact with, who would be that one character you'd want to interact with?
You mean in the Spider-Man universe?
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, I have to say Venom. Yeah. So whether that means Tom Hardy's Venom or whatever, you know, I'll take it. That's the guy. That was always the dude for me. So
Oh yeah, yeah. And then okay, I have to ask you because Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning's coming out, and I don't know how much you can talk about that because it's not out yet. So
right. Right.
What can
Yeah.
you tell
No,
us?
I can tell you that I was there for, man, I was there for a bit, like 2 months, something like that. Originally, it started as yeah, it was so wild. I did an audition so long ago that I even forgot that I auditioned for it. You know, and Mission Impossible, yeah, uh, Dead Reckoning came out, and so I thought, oh, I auditioned for that, and it already came out, so I didn't get it. Then I go on vacation with my now wife in Korea, and this is when we started dating. And I got a job for like a day, and I was like back in America, and I was like, hey, how crazy would it be if I cut this vacation short? I know I'm just starting to get to know you, but I have to go back to work. And she said that wouldn't be a good thing. She's Thai, you know how they are. So anyway, and so I said, hey, I agree. You know, I'm getting older. I'm trying to prioritize relationships and you know, put relationships at the forefront versus business. But out of nowhere in my head, and I don't know what made me say this. I said, hey, but you got to give me Tom Cruise. I mean, if Tom Cruise calls me to audition or go work on a movie in my life, I have to answer no matter what we're doing. And she goes, okay, you know, we'll talk about it. Fast forward, I think 6 months, we're about to get married. 3 days before we get married, and we're in Thailand, Christopher McQuarrie's people call and they say they want to interview me. And I was like, am I going to have to like leave my wedding to go to England or LA to interview with these guys? Thankfully, it was a Zoom audition, but they let me know 2 days before I got married that I got the part. So I
Oh
had
my
this like
God.
hour-long talk with Chris and McQuarrie. Yeah. And it was really cool. And he's like, yeah, I'll let you know. And that was at the beginning of the weekend. And it was like 2 days after, and I was just sweating the whole time. So got the job. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It was wild. It was like I said, hey, as Tom Cruise calls, and then Tom Cruise called. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. That is like,
I
oh my God.
exactly. Then I went out there, and as far as the movie goes, because I know that's what people are more interested in hearing, right? It's like, man, I saw the world's largest underwater set in person. I think you had to climb 16 to 20 levels of stairs just to get to the top. I was out of breath by the time I got there. Meanwhile, Tom and McHugh are diving into this tank. I'm like, how do they have the stamina to do all of this? It was wild. We saw this cutout of a literal to scale submarine on a gimbal, literally like the world's largest winches, turning this submarine set around upside down, all manner of angles. It was insane to me. And then Tom was very gracious. He showed us his training regimen. He even took us on the first day. He took me and a few of the other actors to see the gym that he trains at for all of these things, including, you know, hanging off of the plane. You know, he had to train months to do those stunts. So after a while, I was just like, man, I think this guy actually might be a super spy, and maybe acting is just his cover. So that that's what I can say. And yeah, as far as anything else, I mean, Katie O'Brien also is in Mission Impossible, so that was an awesome reunion because I worked with her on Twisters, and I mean, her career is just blowing up. She's phenomenal. So it was very cool. The whole experience was awesome.
Can you say you're a good guy or a bad guy?
I can say, hey, great question. I can at least say this: I'm a good guy.
Okay.
Hey,
All right. There
that's
you go.
that's the best question, actually. Nice.
Yeah.
Because Paramount would be like, hey, you can't say anything, but I can at least say that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I do not want to look at the list of things you can or can't say. Like, ooh.
Yeah, exactly. But that
Yeah.
was a great question. Yes. So I'm very excited. I'm very stoked about that because it's rare. You know, my career has always, I started out in stunts. So anytime I have interactions with my heroes, I'm always being killed by them, right?
Yeah.
I'm always fighting them, right? And in this one, Tom is one of my greatest action icons. And thankfully, I was just able to act with him and we were cool.
Oh,
So I didn't
that's
have to
amazing.
fight. Yeah,
That is so
exactly.
amazing. Because
Yeah.
what was it? I saw him at CinemaCon last week, or was it? And then just him just being on stage, that presence, and Also him honoring Val Kilmer, and so I just got like emotional. I got teary eyed. I was like, he's such a class act.
That's a great way to put it. I really believe that Tom and McHugh, that's the first thing I thought when I met them. Class acts. The very first day that I got onto set, I was just supposed to be there for a fitting. And McHugh literally took me behind the camera, gave me a seat, and said, "Hey, why don't you just watch the sequence that we're filming?" And it was a sequence where it was Tom talking to Ving Rhames, and Simon Pegg, and it's very intense sequence, and I'm just like, am I allowed to be here? And McHugh was saying, no, sit down. If you have any questions about how we filmed this, you let me know. And he's talking about lens size. So Tom and McHugh were kind of putting on little mini film schools to all the actors every day. And, that kind of warmth that you saw for Tom's speech to Val, and also the award that he was presenting to McHugh, that was an everyday thing. Having said that, it was also like, it was kind of wild because they are such class acts, but they also really know what they're doing. So it makes everybody kind of up their game as well. Everyone is just trying to do their best on this movie. And that's really what every actor and every crew person wants to do on a movie, is work on something special. And I think we all had this feeling that we very much were working on something special. Wink, wink. Take that. Take that for whatever it is, right? So, yeah.
Oh yeah. And I guess for my last question for this, I want to ask you about Skeleton Crew.
Yeah.
Brutus. Because now that's how you can talk about it now. So
yeah, that's right.
Being the traitor, the mutinous guy, being in the suit.
Yeah.
Fondest memories for you.
Oh man, I tell you what, my fondest memory was when I met Jude Law. Okay. So a couple cool memories, obviously, was every episode. I pretty much worked on almost every episode, if not every episode, because Brutus is in every episode. And then I had a little cameo appearance as a Hatton warrior, right? So I was able to work with every director on that shoot. And you had the best directors, right? You had the Daniels, you had Lee Isaac Chung, right? You had all of them, right? And so the fact that I was able to work with all of them and see their process was, again, as a filmmaker, as an actor, as a film fan, it was just awesome to be there. The actual process of working on the shoot was very funny because I'm in the wolf head, and we have two little pinholes, and oftentimes they would shift, and so I saw nothing. So everything you saw me do, I was blind. So if you ask me my recollection of filming that show, just darkness, total darkness, and muffled. I couldn't hear anything, couldn't see anything. But my very fond memory was when I met Jude Law. I'm standing there in the suit, and producers are walking around me in the suit, and they're checking out the suit to see if it's up, if it's cool. And then all of a sudden I hear this posh English voice say, "Oh, wow, that's really cool." And then I'm thinking it's some producer or director I haven't met. And then an assistant said, "Oh yeah, this is Jude. Stephen, this is Jude. Jude, Stephen." And I went, Jude. Who's Jude? Jude Law? And all of a sudden, can you imagine, in my wolf mask, I jumped out and I went, "Jude Law, I'm a huge fan of yours. Oh my God, you're amazing." And he talked about a class act. He was gracious too. He's like, "Oh, cool. Absolutely." He was shaking my hand. We had a cool conversation. So the guy, yeah, he's totally cool. He will never recognize me because he only ever saw me in a wolf head, but nice as can be, professional, and again, artistically awesome. So yeah, another one of my heroes. So, they always say, don't meet your heroes. Yeah. I'm very fortunate in that most of the people that I met have been like just amazing. All the A-listers have been great. Every A-lister I worked with has been fantastic. So,
yeah, that's saying, yeah, like, it's I feel like if you're in a business, you get to meet like a lot of your heroes, so the odds of them being good is like maybe like it's high compared to like, oh, that one asshole. But
exactly. Listen, there's always one, right? But usually they're in TV, or they're it's not necessarily that they're the A-listers, so I think when you're in the lister and you're maybe even a producer, you've made it. So you can be chill, I think. So that's my little insider tip to everybody out
There
there.
you go. But yes, I just want to say, Stephen, it's always been a pleasure chatting with you. And I feel like, yeah, the sky's the limit now. You're going to get that Mr. Negative role. It's going to happen, man. It's
Well,
going
hey,
to happen.
like I said, thank you and thank everybody that's throwing their support my way. And, again, they say don't beg, but whatever, I'll just say it. Hey, if you support me, throw it out there on the interwebs, man. That's how people, that's how people get their attention. So put it out on the interweb, the internet. And
oh yeah.
Thank
Another
you.
tip, like, because what is it? Destin's working on it. So,
He sure is, right? It's like, yo,
Yeah.
Simu, Destin, holla at your boy. I'm right here, right? And they're like,
Yeah.
well, he's desperate. And it's like, yeah, I want to eat. What can I say?
Yeah.
So,
So between now and then, if there's a way to get, I don't know if he has played the Spider-Man games, but somewhere along the lines, maybe a fan, maybe you, or maybe even me, like in passing, if we see him, like, hey, play Spider-Man.
yeah,
Watch
there it
this
is.
performance by Mr. Negative, and then he'll play it. He'll be like,
exactly.
Oh my God.
Well, look, like I said, every artist, I'm sure Destin has his own vision of what Mr. Negative is like. But all I can say is, again, if the fans want it enough, if there's enough support, then, he could at least look my way.
Oh yeah.
And if, like I said, and if nothing happens from any of this, all I can say, it was still awesome. It's still helpful that everybody boosted my acting profile, because then I can go get other jobs to do other cool stuff that people like. And at the end of the day, that's really all I want to do. So, that's all I got to say. So thank you to everybody, and thank you to you too, honestly.
All right. Yeah, Stephen. Yeah. With that, take care, and yeah, the future is yours.
Hey, the future is ours, everybody. Let's do this.
Yes. All right. All right, Stephen.
right.
Take care.
Thank you.